Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifigure host, Matt. Let's bet on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing? Episode 217 today. And we are closing in on the end of the year so stinking fast. I cannot believe we are coming to an end. It's hard to believe we are getting ready to roll into 2022. I still can't believe it. Anyway, today we're talking about the best sets of 2021. We already did the worst, and I've already heard from some of you, and I appreciate all your comments or emails. They made me laugh. Some of you were like, spot on. Some of you were like, you idiot. Either way, I really appreciate all the feedback. Hopefully you have your top 10 or top 5, top 3, whatever, maybe top 72 best sets of the year, however you want to classify it, whatever is best for you. But today, that's what we're going to talk about. So first one up, the pickup truck. This thing is exquisite. 10290. This was something when it came available for pre-order, I think back in July. I was like, yes, it is a day one purchase for me for a multitude of reasons, but absolutely yes. So when I got it, I was so excited to build it. I haven't done a review on it. I don't know that I want to. I don't know. But with that in mind, this thing was awesome. It probably could have moved higher up my list. Now that I think about it, you know, that you go back and you jostle things around and you're like, oh, I can move this, I can move that. But the nostalgia factor there is enough to move it up. But I want to look at it as far as a Lego set. It's not on this list for the nostalgia factor. I've talked about my grandfather a number of times, and he worked at a cemetery all his life, and I worked there when I was in high school. Some of you think, oh, that's creepy. No, I think working in a morgue would be creepy. But with that in mind, we had one of these at the cemetery. It was a 1955 Ford. Looked almost identical to this, 3 gears, the shifter on the column, the round pedals for the clutch and the brake. I mean, heck, the lights were on the floor. You press the button with your foot on the floor. It was crazy. Still one of the coolest vehicles I've ever driven. Anyway, but that aside, this build was spectacular. I loved everything about this. All the extras that come with it, the Christmas goodies and the wheelbarrow and just all of the little things, not to mention the truck itself, were fantastic. I really could not have asked for anything better than what we got with this. Some of you are going to say, some of you that are car folks, maybe, I wish it would have done this, or I wish it would have done that. But the body lines on this were exquisite. They're superb. If you have not bought this, and maybe you're not into vehicles, I'm not the biggest person into vehicles. I don't look at things and I'm like, oh man, I have to have this vehicle or that vehicle. I'm very much it's got to really equate to me. It's like with Technic. The new BMW motorcycle that is coming out. I will have it because I'm a super bike freak. Same as the reason I got the Ducati. So it's going to be something of a similar vein with this one as well. So for the sheer buildup of this thing, this vehicle, it works for me. And maybe it doesn't for you, but man, it was hard to put it at number 10. I wanted to move it up so bad, but it's like, well, what else do you move around? So let's move on to number 9, the Hydro Bounty from Ninjago 71756. This thing is huge. And the fact that you get this mech with it, and it has all these little type compartment ideas going on in the way that it's built, and having the discussion with Nick back in May about this and how cool of a build this thing is. And we have a large underwater craft, not just, we've seen the land bounty and we've seen the regular bounty. This is completely different. And the color scheme is fantastic. And there's so much to it. Plus all the minifigs that you get, all the little schooner type, underwater schooner things that you get. There's so much to this. And the fact that it is Ninjago really helps as well for me. It's one of those things I'm like, okay, you're getting both things here for me. You're getting a cool build. I'm getting my Ninjago fancy tickled here. All of that. There's so much to it. It's, oh my goodness. Yeah, it had to be on my list. You knew it was going to be on my list. The question is where? Was it going to be in the top 3, top 5, or was it going to be down at the bottom? I'm sure some people are kind of like, wait, what? But, this isn't the last Ninjago set, of course. Why would this be the last Ninjago set we're going to talk about for the best sets of 2021? I mean, that would be crazy to even think about that. So moving on to number 8, the Wildlife Rescue Operation 60302. This set, my goodness, it was something that from day one I had to have. And I know I'm going to get beat over the head here about the fact of me bagging for many, many years about Lego City helicopters. But this Lego City helicopter is unlike any other Lego City helicopter. Well, it's not unlike any other, but it has good stuff. It's got a big rotor. It has a nice solid build. The coloring is great. You get the hook that can attach to the bottom, like I said before. You get the stuff that can go in the back, all the cargo that can go in the back. I mean, that is good stuff. Like, that's what you want. Those are the type of things that you want. But then you also get this playable helicopter, this thing that you can swoosh about. You get the 6-wheel or the tracked vehicle that has the 6 wheels on it. That's a fun little vehicle. It's not anything super awesome, but it's a fun little vehicle. Plus you get the big elephant. You get the baby elephant. This is the only way you can get a baby elephant. You get the alligator. You get the printed egg that has the eye on it of the baby alligator that is coming out of it. Or maybe you want to pretend it's a dinosaur. I guess crocodiles are kind of dinosaurs to a certain degree, right? But then you get this land, you get this water, you get this med station, you get monkeys, the new monkeys. And then you also get a monkey with a cast. How adorable. I love it. The price point is not exactly like I had mentioned before in the episode discussing these. That is not where I wanted it. 90 is not where I wanted it. I wanted it more like 75. I would have been happy with. But holiday season, if you picked yours up, hopefully you picked yours up either at that time or during the holiday time or before, whenever, or maybe after, because it seems like holiday season comes around and everything goes out of stock. Whether it be at a big box store, or it be online, or it be at Lego's website, or whatever. So this is my number 8. I really loved everything about this. The baby elephant sells it. The monkeys, the broken wristed monkey. I mean, hello. Moving up the list to number 7, the Spider Queen's Arachnoid Base 80022. Can you believe something like this made my list? Yes, you should know me by now. You should full on know that I'm going to pick something that I am going to take as playing ability, playability, play potential, and then build centered. I mean, it's all in one. I gushed about this set back when we did the review, but you get the awesome Bad Queen. You get this huge bulbous spider with movable legs. And then you get all this other kind of greatness that is around it. The extra little set pieces that come with this. The spider abdomen opens up in the back. It becomes a command center. It is so stinking cool. It is a true play set. I think back to when I was a kid, Lego aside, I was huge into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters. That was my wheelhouse. And I think of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with like their sewer play set. That's what this kind of reminds me of. You're getting everything you need right here. You're getting your goodies, you're getting your baddies, and you're getting this play set right here. You're getting so much to do, so much to play with. And that's so much there. Not to mention the build of this. The build was so cool in the way that the abdomen was shaped and then the legs were attached and the movement function that went into it. It was some really cool stuff. It is some really cool stuff. So up to number 6, the Spring Lantern Festival. I have this one. I've been waiting to review it. That review will be coming out next week as we hit the new year. I know it's a year late. It's from last year's, but I wanted to save it for something for New Year. 80107, the Spring Lantern Festival. This was cool. Not only does it have the modular capability with it, it is everything that is in there. The exquisitely built set pieces. When I say set pieces, I'm referring to just a tiny little builds and stuff that are in there that, just accentuate a set or accentuate an idea even more so. And I'm really enjoying the Chinese New Year stuff. The first waves that came out with the boats, the minifigs, I'm like, it wasn't really anything where I was like, oh my God, I have to have this. Then the buildings came, and then the story of Nian, and then you ended up with this beautiful behemoth. My God, it was awesome. And this thing was either sold out or on back order, temporarily out of stock for, majority of this year. I mean, I think there was a solid 2-month window where it wasn't out of stock or on back order. And that was like in the fall. Like we're talking like August, September, maybe October timeframe. Once the holidays came, it went again. It's crazy how that works. But I love the scale of this. I love the characters that you get with it. It is a really cool set because it can be added into a city. It can be added into a display. It can be modularized into your modular sets. I love it. I absolutely adore this set. Moving up to number 5, Space Shuttle Discovery. This was everything. The shuttle, the Hubble Space Telescope. I mean, there's so much here. The design of this was beautiful. The exterior was done really well. Again, I know a lot of people did not like those stickers. I was not a fan of those either. I don't do well with stickers to begin with. But man, this thing was awesome. The stand was perfect. It makes it look like it's taking off. Well, I guess not taking off, but coming in on approach because, they shoot straight up. They don't take off like a normal plane because this isn't a plane. It's a shuttle. I have so many things to say about this one. I know some people think this is going to be higher up on other lists. Like, oh, this should be way up there. This should be, like top 3. I mean, we're not that far out. We're number 5. It is a really fun set to build. It does take time. It does, like the $200 price point on it, to me, yeah, I think that is a solid price point. I think that is a perfect price point. I don't think there's a problem with it for what you're getting, the build experience you're getting, and the iconic part of this shuttle. I think it is worth every single cent that you pay for this thing. Moving up to number 4, Pigsy's Noodle Tank. I know I'm going to catch flack for this. 80026 Pigsy's Noodle Tank. Dude, how could you not love this thing? How could you not put it in your top 10? I know why people don't put it in their top 10. They're like, I don't like Monkey Kid. I don't like playset stuff. But this tank was awesome. It's supposed to be a noodle bowl. You have the fork in the front of this thing. You get some interesting bad guys that come along with it. And then you get this hawked up version of this. It is a tank, yes, but it's got arms. Like it's got arms on each side. It's got your pig shooter on one side, which is awesome. And then you have on the other side, you have this giant gaping arm that can hold your chopsticks, the chopsticks of death type thing that's going on. With a fridge hanging off the arm, plus, Pigsy's got his little noodle bowl where he's like selling stuff. It is an awesome thing. Plus it has tank treads. There is so much about this set that I enjoyed. One of my favorite tiny things, I don't remember if I talked about this when we did the review of it, the little rocket looking deal that is hanging off the end of it. I'm looking at mine right now. And that's hanging off of I guess if you're looking at it from the front, it would be the left arm, but it's technically his right arm. The little fish rocket thing, I love it. I loved everything about this. I could not get enough of this. It was probably one of my most favorite, interesting builds of the year. Plus, that fork can be moved up and down. The mechanism inside is unique in its own right. I just don't think a lot of folks give enough credit to all of these little to all these little sets like this. I just don't think people will really stop and think, man, you know what? This, even though it's a $60 price tag on this thing, this could be worthy of a lot. This packs a punch for what it is. And I love it. I don't care what you think. By far, one of my favorite sets of the year. So now we move into the podium positions. This is where the heavy hitters are. Now, my podium is going to look different than everybody else. My podium looked different from Jang's and April's and Dan's and Brian's and a bajillion other people out there in the world. But my number 3 set of 2021 falls under the Lego Ideas category. Believe it or not. And we're talking about the Medieval Blacksmith 21325. It tickles the fancy of the medieval stuff, the castle folk that are out there. The roof sections that were built and the way that they are attached is awesome. I love how they just kind of slide into place, and then it's awesome. You have a light brick in this. Every single part of this has exquisite detail. And that's usually what we see with Lego idea sets. Not that we don't see that with like modulars and stuff like that, but there's just something else about it. You know, you have your different levels that you can remove things and you can get on the inside you want to play about or whatever. I loved every single part of this set just due to the sheer fact of what it offered in such a small little footprint. It wasn't as big as a modular. It wasn't as big as some of the other stuff, and it wasn't super tiny either. I mean, this is kind of like a footprint of a Lego city building, except it's a whole building. It's not open on one side, you know, on the back side. The tree build was something that I had never experienced before. It kind of fell in the same realm of the bonsai tree to a certain degree, but you get a cart, you get a horse, you get your not your action heroes. You get your castle guys, your medieval guys, you get your blacksmith here. The blacksmith shop is so cool in the way that it is done. There's just so much that goes on with this build. The color palette alone, I don't right now. I had this thing from the minute it was built, displayed until we moved. It is currently in a box. A few pieces are probably broken off of it at the moment, but man, this is one of those sets that it fits anywhere. It fits in any display. You could have Star Wars and you can find a spot for this because of the build, because of the design of it. The exterior alone sucks in your eyes. People aren't just passing. This is not a flat-faced building or anything like that. Anyway, number 3 for me, I could go gaga on it for the rest of these, you know, the rest of the year, because we've got another, a week, a little less than a week of the year left. But on to the number 2, the runner-up. Oh boy. My runner-up, it comes from one of my favorite themes or concepts to ever grace Lego. And I'm talking about the one and the only Ninjago City Gardens, 71741. This had so much. There was so much in this. Minifigs alone, build, the canonical references, the sheer size of it, the ability to group it with the other two, which I did not do. I just had it displayed on its own, but now it's in a box. There's just so much there for this set. If you're a Ninjago fan, it's a must-have. You've got to get it. Without a doubt, you have to get it. If you're a more of like a modular fan, there's stuff in here for you. If you're a Ninjago diehard, the references in here are amazing. You're going to go back through your brain, the episodes in your brain, and you're going to be like, oh, I remember this, and I remember that. There's so much to it. There's so much to it. And I'm a big fan of these big, massive builds, these sculptures that aren't just like, the modulars are great. I love the modulars. But this, in its own right, with what you're getting for everything that involves Ninjago, I mean, it does everything that you want as a Ninjago fan and more. I mean, I when I was building this, now maybe this is just me, but when I was building this, I was just smiling ear to ear. It's like when I do the modulars, except it was more so the references. It's like when I did Seinfeld, being a Seinfeld junkie. I'm like, hey, all these references, they start popping back in your head and you laugh and you remember. You're like, oh my God, remember. And I have that relationship with my son as well because he is big into Ninjago, not as big as I am. And as he gets older, other things become more important and not so much Ninjago or Lego. I know. His dark ages are starting. I can't handle this. No, I don't know. But with that in mind, that is my number 2. That's my runner-up for the year. Exquisite set. Oh my goodness. So that brings us to number 1, the top set of 2021. Those of you that don't already know, that didn't watch Between the Bricks TV when we did this, those of you that don't know, I want you to take, 5 seconds. Just shout out your guess. Boom. Oh, I think it's bing. It is Harry Potter. It is the Hogwarts Icon set, 76391. By far my favorite set of the year. I'm not a giant Harry Potter fan. Y'all know this by now. And if you don't know that by now, you do now. I love the Harry Potter sets. I love everything that they offer. I think they are great sets. The Harry Potter films were good. I just got into it way late. But having the opportunity to get a Hedwig of this scale and this detailed of a build, and the way that the build was done, especially the head, the way the head was built is a builder's delight. So many cool techniques that were used to accomplish just the head alone. And then the body, and then the feathers, and how everything moves. And then his stand. You get the potions. You get the books. And the book builds were really neat. The base of the bottom book, the build on that was something I had never seen before. It's almost borderline breaking Lego rules for their techniques. And then you get the wearable and the playable. You get the glasses. You get the chocolate frog. You get the wand. And I had taken this to a show, like I had mentioned before, when we were live in Killeen. And I had people putting on the glasses, people touching the wand, people taking pictures next to it, next to Hedwig, throwing up their peace sign, their gang signs, whatever. People love Harry Potter. And this set did it. I still to this day, months after this was built, find this set interesting to look at every time I pass it. I don't have a whole lot of room in this small house now, but I do have it displayed. And it is something that my parents are like, wow, that is incredible. My wife, even though she's not big into Lego, she don't care about Lego. She'd rather see it in the dumpster full. But the idea that she was like, that is really cool. That is really neat. That is a centerpiece. Yes, I know. All of that kind of stuff. That sells it right there. That is the number 1. That is why it is my number 1. Not just because of what other people think, just because of what it meant to me to build it and what it looks like. We don't see things like this very often. This is the Hedwig people wanted. This is the things. These are the things people wanted. My mom told me, she goes, man, that is so cool. Kind of like, let's gift it. Here you go. Happy New Year. Something. Which her birthday is January 1st. So that would be kind of funny. But yeah, with that in mind, best set of the year by far. I loved it. If you have not picked this up, I know it was sold out. I'm probably pretty sure it still is that way. If you're a Harry Potter person and you have not bought it yet, the $400, I know it's steep, but you will not be disappointed about this at all. So that's going to wrap up this episode 217, talking about best sets of 2021. Before we get out of here, you may be listening to this over the holidays. If you are, if you're not, whatever. Happy New Year if you're hearing it by then. Or Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas or whatever holiday. I celebrate Christmas, so I'm going to say Merry Christmas to you. Hope you guys have a great holiday. Spend it with your family. Build your Lego. Do whatever you're going to do. It's just going to be my wife and I this year and the dogs. My son is out of town. Build your Lego. Have fun. Give those extra hugs and kisses for those of you that haven't been able to be around people for a long period of time for whatever reason. I've seen my family a few months ago, but I don't live near any of my family. So have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. We've got more shows coming before the new year, but I just wanted to tell you guys, you mean so much to me. Your listenership, your comments, your questions, everything that I get from you guys. I do my best to try and answer and figure things out for you and get answers for you. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I hope I do enough to where, you know, it motivates you to stay with Lego, but at the same time, you know, you're getting information, you're getting things like, oh, you know what? I didn't even know that was the thing. I know I've talked to some people at shows and online, and they have said, I wasn't even thinking about this before. And then I was listening to you talk about it. Now I need it. I really appreciate you guys being here. Again, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Until next time, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.